Live. We are live. Welcome, everybody. It's December. We were talking here. We have such a great lineup as usual. It's December. It's the holiday time. We've made it through Thanksgiving, Black Friday, all of that. It's been a busy, busy time of year. Ben and I are back. We're ready to taste through. We got 5 whiskeys for everybody tonight. Ben is getting settled into the new place. I'm traveling as well. I'm in Tampa. So I'm remote as well. But Ben, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm certainly not as festive, as you. It's good to see you on location, Scott. You look like, some sort of journalist, hidden and wedding attempt in the Middle East, and with a little Christmas tree that's been just brought just to celebrate. Yeah, it's good. It's good. And it's good to be back on the channel. I was here. Tom and I did a stream with that Volts collection. Man, still thinking about that. That was just the other day. And this is, I think the big one. This is the biggest outturn of the year. And of course, Scott and I we talked about the idea of tasting every whiskey. I think maybe one of us proposed that. And ultimately, we opted against it just for our own survival. However, we might do a stream in the near future where we do something like that. We got 5 whiskeys tonight, 5 that we've picked out. And I'm not going to give anything away yet, but for reasons to be determined, I think, Scott, you'll probably be really excited about this one. This lineup.
Yeah, I wonder why.
It's
hey, Ben, real quick, make sure you got the right mic selected. It doesn't sound as good as it normally does, and I think you're on the wrong mic. But check real quick. So it's not bad, but it's not as good as it usually is. Ben has that great radio voice.
Is it better now?
Still sounds a little like you're in a room, which doesn't. It usually
doesn't. I'll drink the whiskey and then it'll get better. Let's see.
It's not bad, but it's not quite as crisp and clean as usual. You can tell that you're in a room. Basically, usually you've got that radio. Hello, welcome to 93.5 tonight. We've got
more. Is this more clear for you, Scott?
Try it again.
Is this more clear for you?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Well, here we are.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, wait. Oh, just using those. Oh.
Yeah, I've switched.
Gotcha.
Evan agrees with a nice little meh. All right. Cheers, everyone. Looks like we got a good crowd tonight, too. I've seen a lot of familiar faces. Man, it's good to see everyone. First in the chat was Tom R. Says, hi, everyone. Hey, Tom R. What's going on? Mamuka, you've been on a roll, man. You've been here at every single stream, I swear. Probably have your notifications on. Good to see Stuart of Butte. Alex again. Good evening, he says. Oh, my dog just walked in. And JT, I will say good evening to everyone, and we'll be listening on my way home from work. Okay, do not be careful. Drive safely. Don't get too excited with what we're about to reveal. So, just to name a few.
Yeah. Mamuka says no palm Christmas tree. Florida thing. I'll have to see if we have a palm Christmas tree. All right. Yeah.
The smooth sounds of whiskey on the Whiskey Channel with DJS. All right. Well, sorry for the lack of smoothness tonight. Maybe the whiskey will be more smooth. Oh, I hate you. Yeah. What do you think of that, Scott? Describing a whiskey as smooth. Is it? Do you have an opinion on that? It's controversial.
Yeah, I've done it though. I mean, sometimes it's smooth.
Yeah.
Lack of better words. I mean, there's people out there argue, instead of smooth, you use these other words, but sometimes you just get one and you're like, it's really smooth. I mean, what do you say?
Yeah. Well, we've got 5 whiskeys on the topic of smooth. We have 5 whiskeys tonight. Lowest by ABV is 57%. And we are getting pretty high as we go along anyway. Really excited for this. December is obviously a big month. Maybe it's no surprise for whiskey enjoyment. There's just something about enjoying whiskey in cold weather. I think that goes together. Like, trying to think of something like peanut butter and jelly. Oh, that's a lame one, but you know what I mean. So we do, while we release a lot of different whiskeys throughout the year, we do get excited and try to hold off on some really unique ones.
more hearty drams for this month. I think last month was a pretty big one in terms of a selection of like richer whiskeys. So that's kind of the theme. I think maybe we got one to kick off and get the palate fired up. Maybe on paper, pretty versatile dram, and then we get into some, I think, big bold flavors for the winter.
Yes, and we do have though too. It's going to be one of the bigger outturns of the year, if not the biggest outturn of the year too. We've got a lot of whiskeys coming out tomorrow, so keep that in mind as well. We just have a handful of them tonight, but let's get into our first one. Cask 71.102, an agitation of tennis. I'm not sure what that name means. Let's get in on the palate and see, but juicy oak and vanilla, 12-year-old Speyside, 57.8% ABV, will be available for $125. All of these tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time.
I think we've seen some 71s recently, similarly aged, maybe from different profiles. I think it's been a bit of a hidden gem, at least those that we've come out. Can you hear me all right, by the way? I'm just making sure, going back to the mic.
I would go back to the other mic.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Sorry, guys. This is our first time ever streaming on YouTube. We've never before.
Yeah.
How is that? Is that better for you?
Try it again.
Is that better for you, Scott?
Yeah.
Whatever. All right. Well, I'll make sure to not listen to this on the replay. But anyway, my point is I think 71's a bit of a hidden gem. I get pretty excited. And this, on paper, at least first fill barrel, seems sort of like a classical Speyside expression. What are you getting on the nose?
Yeah, nose is really kind of a tangy, tropical, citrusy, fruity. It's just an overwhelming, just kind of sour tart. Sweet tarts. Sweet tarts is what I was thinking. I'm not sour tart.
This is a little bit of sort of like bright, or like new leather I get in the nose. I think the citrusy component is definitely there. It's bright, it's fresh. I think it has I'm just kind of going with it. First impression right here. I go back in. It's warming up a little bit. I'm getting more of a baked bread. Well, actually, Scott, you're the bread baker here. So, I mean, I'm picking it up. You'll be the authority on whether that's something that's actually detectable. But it started off very fresh and sort of tart, and just noticing it now, getting a little, dare I say, smoother.
Yeah, I was gonna say crisp, and that's probably one of those words, kind of like smooth, but it's just like a crisp, almost crisp linen, even fresh linen.
Yeah.
Lemony, tart. Yeah, very interesting.
First round, 57.8. Cheers.
Yep. Cheers. Ooh.
Very bright, very lively.
Yes.
The tartness is there. Bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You're just like ooh and ah. You're just ooh and ah over there.
I was waiting for you to get done there. Tart, tropical fruits. I mean, there's some tangerine, but still that crisp kind of green apple, a Jolly Rancher green apple, just in your face. Vanilla creams. Yeah, light, crisp, green apples, tart, tropical. Very nice. Kiwi.
Yeah. Yeah. The tropical nature of the whiskey really kind of picks up on the finish, at least.
That's a great one to start off with. And occasionally this happens, where we start off, you start, lighter on the whiskey scale, palate wise. And then as you go through the tasting, you advance, you progress. And this is a great one to start off with. It really is.
I think it's pretty. There's a man, now that I've sort of picked up the tropical notes, it's not going away from me. Aside from the tropical notes that are, like I said, definitely present, it's pretty much a classical Speyside in terms of, like, you get a lot of orchard fruit too now, drizzle and honey. And I'm getting that, that baked bread aroma I picked up. I'm getting a lot more of like a buttered croissant, or like a what's the bread? A brioche bread. Just butter. It's definitely a buttery texture. It's a really, I think I would describe it as kind of lame description, but whatever, it is what it is. Kind of a friendly whiskey. It's not really offensive. It's not good. There's nothing evil. It's kind and friendly and bright. that's my descriptor.
Hawaiian, you're just naming off the breads. Hawaiian sweet rolls, nice, warm.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows. Everybody likes the Hawaiian sweet rolls.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was something. What was I gonna say too? Now I can't remember. I lost it. Oh, the tropicalness in this one, actually, this hasn't been near a rum barrel, but if someone told you this was rum finished, you'd probably believe it.
Yeah.
It was nice, that tropical, fruity, vanilla. Yeah. Because it's just a first fill ex-bourbon barrel.
Jimmy Joe says, I got to try 6 of these last night in Boston at our tasting event there. Some good stuff on tap. Well, that's good because we haven't tasted them yet. This is our first go around. So, I listen, our whiskeys are usually good. It's an easy thing to love, but good to know, Jimmy. We got 5 of the 6. I took the main lineup that were pouring at all of our tasting events. I included some of them, but I switched it up. So, and maybe you can guess, Scott, which ones I deliberately chose.
I was going to say real quick, this is honestly one of the best examples of juicy oak and vanilla that I've had. There's been a couple before, out of the shelf full of them. But this one would be one that I would honestly go back to. I would reference and be like, what's it named? An Agitation of Tennis. I'd be like, that was just a great whiskey, just an excellent example of our juicy oak and vanilla profile. It's just a palate. It literally, with water is opening it up. It's just making me salivate so much. It's so tart and juicy and fruity and delicious. Yeah, very nice. We put a second round of water on it. Whoever was at the tasting last night. I mean, what did you think of this one? 71.102.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great one to start off with. Like I say, it's just exceeding my expectations. It could almost be a second or a third whiskey in a lineup. Looking at the flavor, how much flavor is packed into this one.
Yeah, you're into this one. I could tell. This is a surprising outcome for you.
Yeah.
Maybe Scott says, maybe you're talking about a different one, but he said I was pleasantly surprised that it continues to get better, but he's talking about this one in an old bodega.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one, too.
Yeah.
Warren Buff seems to be married to the only person on earth who doesn't like Hawaiian sweet rolls, he says.
I'm sorry, Warren. It's going to be okay. Let's move on.
Yeah.
You want to? I know you really enjoyed this one, but I'm looking ahead. We've got 4 to choose from.
I hear you. All right. Wow. I still would buy that was rum barrel finished, just as fruity and tropical as that one is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very nice. All right, moving on. 36.194. Woo. Gotta move my midwinter celebrations. This is deep, rich, and dried fruits, a Speyside, 12 years old, X double maturation on this one, ex bourbon hogshead, and then first fill American oak Oloroso hogshead, 56.6%. 100 will be available for $145. Now, and generally somebody's going to comment. Usually are deep, rich, and dried fruits, or dirtifs, as some people refer to them. Usually they're later in a tasting, but we have 12-year-old, a 14-year-old. We have some others, and not to give away too much, other wine cask finishes, and this one just kind of moved its way up in the lineup a little bit.
Oh, we're doing this one, the 30. Okay, got it. All right. Let's see.
36194.
By the way, how's my audio?
That's much better.
Okay, my mic was the USB-C was not plugged into the thing. Anyway, it reminded me of a movie. I won't get off the topic just yet. Okay.
Yeah. 100% better.
Well, it wasn't on. All right.
Yeah.
I can go on a YouTube stream now. I feel so much better. I can taste this whiskey. It's gonna be great. Oh, so worried about audio quality over here and this, home office production on our little SMW's American YouTube channel.
It wasn't bad, but I could tell your mic wasn't working because
you were making these weird faces, and I was like, oh, I don't know. It's like, what am I gonna do? Come on, our regular viewers here, they need good quality. Who was it who was driving home? I mean, the car. Come on, you can't listen to me in like a tin box.
That's right.
This is for you. Anyway, I'm gonna pour this whiskey.
All right. Warren Buff says he's been wanting one of these since he saw it on the TTB's registry. I'm hoping to do a 3 whiskey lineup with this and the High West Midwinter Night's Dram and Glenmorangie Midwinter Night's Dram. I don't think this one's I think those are gonna pale in comparison to this one, but let's see.
It's a midwinter lineup. We can talk about those later on, but I that High West, I remember there was a time when I was really into that. It was fun, a lot of fun back then, and it's still good. It's just I just passed on the latest one too. Our liquor store got it in. I was like, and it's up to like $160 or something. I'm like, nah, we'll pass on that one. All right. Well.
The nose is definitely darker than the first one. I'm getting a lot of alcohol off of it. There's a little bit of a cherry.
Yeah, I'm getting heavy cherry, like the Luxardo cherry. I get a lot of that in this one. I mean, this is a night and day difference between what we just had. Much, much darker, much richer. Obviously, I mean, that on paper, all the signs point to that. But this just feels much more appropriate for the time of year. Again, you're down in Florida. It's like, what is winter at really? I mean, but this is really hitting the spot right now.
A lot of spices, cinnamons and nutmegs. Almost smells a little. If there can be a dry astringency on the nose, it almost smells a little astringent. I wouldn't know how to describe it, but we'll see what happens with the palate.
It's a little bit vegetal. I mean, there's like a I'm trying to think of what plant. I mean, I was going to say like a little bit of rosemary, but it's more like a sage. It's really faint, but really beautiful aroma. I will say that. It's richer compared to the first one, but like compared to other deep, rich, and dried fruits casks that we see in that category, it's a bit light, bit light and airy. Wouldn't you say?
Light and airy.
Well, I don't know. Well, I'm gonna taste it. Just the aroma. It feels like it's like lifted a little bit, and it's not really just like weighing. Like some like really sherry cask mature whiskeys are really like weighty.
Yeah,
you feel like, damn, I'm about to taste this. This is a heavy whiskey. This is not. This is a PX, the second maturation in PX sherry. It's a bit lighter, a little fruitier.
Oloroso. American Oloroso.
I'm looking at the bottle right now.
36194. Did I enter it? Maybe I entered the banners. So it's PX.
36194 is PX. And we are really on tonight. We are really over. This is a PX. Yeah. Sorry everyone for the misinformation.
Yeah.
We need one of those no we don't. Never mind.
The thing is, we can always count on our members that are watching to correct us, though. Too, they're like, "Oh no, you're wrong on that one."
We never make mistakes. We're so professional here. Ryan Legend said this was a fave at my table for the Outturn preview. Didn't know the name of this bottle, but in my notes I described it as holidays. Okay, it's fair.
Yeah. Fruitcake, I would say it's got a little fruitcake.
All right. I'm going to taste this bad boy.
Yeah. Cheers. Mm.
Okay. Really hot. It was like really, really approachable. Then, man, it really took off. Really, really bold. Very assertive on the palate. So well balanced. The sherry it's like unmistakable. You know, the PX sherry, the dark fruits, but man, really not overpowering the spirit. You get a lot of the bourbon wood as well. The lighter notes, the caramels, even a little bit of red apple. What do you think?
Yeah, almost stewed apples, and cinnamon. Nice. I mean, it's definitely darker. 180 here from the first whiskey that we did. Not a sherry bomb here, though. So this is a double maturation, like Ben said. Keep in mind, you got bourbon hogshead and then the Pedro Jimenez hogshead. Chocolate. So I'm getting chocolate and some leathers as well on the palate on this. But yeah, it's just it hits you right up front. And I actually thought the ABV was a little bit higher on this one compared to the first, but we've just notched down a little bit from 57.8 to 56.6. But yeah, this one feels pretty warm, pretty hot on the palate.
Yeah.
Warming. Like you said, this will be a great fall, winter dram. Well, I like these year round. So I'm a Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso year round kind of guy.
Yeah. I guess I am. I don't really have a choice, but I think this one's more versatile than a lot of the heavier. Going back to, I'm sticking with my first opinion. Hasn't really changed as I've added some water. It's a bit lighter, in character. It's very well balanced. The sherry and the bourbon wood are really well balanced together. Obviously, it's sherry forward. I think that's you can't look past that. But it's just the characteristic. And I think maybe that's part of the spirit too. This Distillery 36, all the casks we have, I do find they're lighter. They're not as weighty. They're not, the texture isn't as oily and viscous as some of the others that maybe we have on the table tonight. But I think so that might contribute to it a little bit. It just feels a lighter whiskey would be really great for like autumn. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, summer nights too, with like a little barbecue. So I think it's a much more versatile whiskey than a lot of the heavier sherry casks that you would reach for in the winter, but nonetheless, pretty perfect for a holiday dram as well. So if you like versatility with your whiskey, I mean, there you go.
I get a little bit of like a cinnamon candy, type cinnamon here with it.
Yeah.
Rich, some slight leathers. I just got like a leather coat in the rain. I mean, I don't know what, but it was almost like real humid, kind of damp, leather, warm.
Yeah, indeed.
Spicy, the baking spices, your cinnamons and your nutmegs. Slight nuttiness, but not almond. It's almost darker, more like walnut or pecan, even maybe a little bit.
Yes, I agree.
Let me get a couple drops of water on it. Who was it early on, too, that said they was hoping for another Distillery 27 tonight? I don't think there's another Distillery 27 tonight. Probably not one for a while in the future.
That's rare. I mean, we could taste it tonight. I'm always talking a big game when we're on whiskey number 2. Come to back. We're 30 minutes in. The first 20 minutes were like sound checks, and then here we are. So we'll see. We'll see how you're feeling.
Yeah. Ben's always like, let's just do 4 or 5 whiskeys tonight. We need to take it easy. And then by the 4th or 5th whiskey, he's like, we're throwing in 2 more surprise whiskeys.
I will. Yeah. Okay. All right. Listen, guys. God forbid someone just wants to have a little fun time on YouTube on a Monday night. Middle holiday season, running the business of the holidays. It's a crazy time of year. So, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Midwinter celebrations. Here we are.
A little sip here with some more water on it. There's some nice caramels and vanillas. I'm getting that bourbon, influence that you were talking about now coming through with it. So yeah, that's a nice, like you say, balance. It's a nice balance of that bourbon hogshead and then that Pedro Jimenez.
Look at all these people throwing out. Like, here's Brad who says, hoping to see a 33 125. 79. I love that it's like we're like a DJ and they got the requests coming. Naming all the things that we want to play, but we can't because of copyright infringement or something. All the hardest casts to get from distilleries that no longer offer casts to third parties. But but fortunately, the society, man, we have so many casts that are hidden away over years in our warehouse. So even though access is difficult to come by, we still have little surprises that we can pull out for years to come.
Yep.
Anyway.
There's a couple of surprises coming up in December. So, yep.
What are they? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, if you scroll down on the list.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, I see it. Oh.
The 20-year-old?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's going to be
All right, let's go back to our Outturn preview taste.
That's a nice thing. We got to do that. We got to tease them. We got to let them know, hey, there's some good stuff coming.
Yeah, but okay.
Yep.
I was actually looking at the other one. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh. What is that one?
The DJ reference is like we take, recommendate, like call in to the hotline and make your recommendation. Like, yeah, this is Matt in Phoenix, and I'd like to see a 33. And we're like, we'd all like to see a 33, but here's a new one for you.
Oh, look at this one. I think I'm based on the comments. I think a lot of people are going to be into this one. I'm okay, but I'm most excited for the one that's on the table that we're going to get to. That's really bizarre. I think people understand what I'm talking about when we get to it. So that was the midwinter celebration, but now we're going to go backward. Right? In our
they're all yeah. We'll see here. I didn't taste these ahead of time. I was just looking at kind of flavor profiles, ages, and cask maturation as well. And I was like, some of these and the colors. If you look at the colors, like the color of this next one is pretty close to the one we just tasted.
We got a few that are like, and this reminds me of the last one I had last stream. These are a few on the border of flavor profiles.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Prepare for winter. Ooh. I should have done this on camera. You're right. I poured this in the glass. This is so not a deep rich. This is the spicy and sweet flavor profile, as denoted by the purple label here. Also double matured. Now the first one that we had, and that was the sort of maybe the mix up in the caption or the scrolling thing description. The first one was double matured in ex-bourbon hogshead and then PX sherry. This is double matured in ex-bourbon hogshead and then first fill Spanish oak. And that was American oak cask with PX. Previously, this is Spanish oak Oloroso. So on paper, different. maybe we'll get more of the sort of for lack of a better term, like the Christmas cake. Let's the Christmas flavor profiles, the sort of the dry nuttiness of the Oloroso sherry. Of course, I can stop assuming and just smell it right now. Ooh.
Yeah, I haven't tasted them, so I don't know. This was a tough one to try to schedule where I hadn't tasted them, like I say, and gone through, but just looking at the ages, the profiles, the cask maturations, we kind of just advanced through ages here. So 90, yeah.
Sorry, I've got a dog who is just like keeps on the door. He smells the whiskey. Every time I do these things, he just gets at the door. Like, what is going on in there? Stick. You want to smell the stick?
Let's see.
Don't drink it. Just.
Oh, he's like, oh, nope, never mind.
I don't think he likes it. I think he's curious.
He's like, I'm out. I would say nose almost real similar to the previous. It's definitely. I mean, it's darker. There's a little bit. Well,
Sorry.
I was going to say, I remembered on that last one, I called out almost like a dry astringency on the nose. That was not there on the palate. It was not dry and astringent at all. But this one, malty, almost maltier than the previous, I think.
Yeah, definitely more malty, more ginger.
Ginger.
More nutmeg for sure. I think kind of the assumption that I had on just based on what it was on paper and Oloroso sherry, those are some of it produces more of the aromas. I haven't tasted it yet, but just nosing it here, more of the aromas that you would associate with like a Christmas baking type of session. I don't know. What do I know? I'm no Christmas baker. You're the baker. I'm just the whiskey guy.
I have to call out Multi-Cask in here, who says we have our very own Venus flytrap and Dr. Johnny Fever here. I know that reference. Ben, do you know the reference? Venus?
Yeah, right. I mean, no, I actually don't.
Oh, really? Yeah. It was a TV show in Cincinnati.
Ooh.
No, still
filmed in Cincinnati.
I don't know if it was filmed in Cincinnati, but it was named something, a radio show in Cincinnati.
It's still not doing it for me. What is it?
WKRP. Well, maybe that wasn't the name of it, but it was WKRP in Cincinnati was the radio station. Yep, there you go. Yep, Multi-Caskin says, well played, Scott. Whiskey and Wine Trails, WKRP.
So was it a radio show?
No, it was a TV. It was a sitcom. Dr. Johnny Fever was like the main DJ, and Venus Flytrap was the nighttime.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that
so
was
the TV show was called what?
I think it was WKRP in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right on.
Lonnie Anderson. That was like her big break. She was on there.
Do you know who Taylor Swift is?
Yes, I do.
Damn it. I'm trying to get you with the generational, awkwardness.
Is she's on tour with Beyonce?
Is she?
No, I don't know. No.
I wouldn't know. I could probably identify one Taylor Swift song. I think that's would irritate people, but anyway, all right. This is welcome back to the channel, everyone. Welcome tonight. We're just going to give you a big tangent. 5 whiskeys and a tangent.
All right, let's get in on the palate. Cheers.
I really like this one. This one does it for me. You were saying the first one that we had was from the juicy oak and vanilla flavor profile. You were saying that was one of that was a real standout for you, maybe a favorite of the profile.
No.
Spicy and sweet is not. I'll be fully honest. It's just I think we all have our own preferences. Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's not one I gravitate towards. And this one for me is probably first taste only, probably the most enjoyable I've had in this flavor profile. Like I can just say that after one taste for sure. I mean, to put a cap on it, maybe like this year, all the whiskeys we've had this year. Yeah, I'm into it.
Like you mentioned croissant on the first one. I get like a buttery croissant here. A nutty, buttery croissant.
Yeah.
Croissant.
Croissant. I get a lot of gingerbread. Like that's that gets it's spicy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. But there's still the baked good. Yeah, the baked element is there. It's very warming. I thought the last one that we had, the deep rich and dried fruits, that was more fruit forward for me. I got dark fruits in that one. Yeah. This is more baked breads. You said the croissant. Croissant.
Yeah.
Croissant.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of gingerbread, but it's definitely, this is a whiskey that of the oven. I would say flavor of the oven.
A little lighter profile wise. Of course, the other one was 12 years. We've gone to a 14-year-old here. Less influence from the Oloroso here than there was PX on the 12-year-old. Again, this is a great balanced whiskey here. Beautiful. A little bit more of the bourbon hogshead, I think, coming through with this one. Not quite as active of an Oloroso cask. But not again, and not a cherry bomb. Don't look for that one on this one. This one is now speaking of drying and astringent, a little bit drier on this one. I can feel it in my gums. Could be the extra 2 years of maturation.
I really like it. Okay, my preference aside, but Prepare for Winter is a great name.
Yeah.
Because we sort of went in reverse order, I was thinking, but the last one was more of a midwinter celebration. That was the name of it. I think these two are spot on. This is sort of not fall time. It's just as things are getting cold. It is drier. You're right. The Oloroso sherry, if I know, just nosing this alone, if I were to do this blind, I don't know that I could have been convinced it's not Oloroso. Sherry, period. I probably could have been convinced it's like a recharred hogshead or something, or just a very active,
true.
Maybe like virgin oak. Which is funny because I don't really love the virgin oak and malt whiskey. That's not my preference, but this one I really enjoy, and there's something about it that's just unique, and I like that.
Let me get a drop of water on it. I'm saying it's very nice. Now, I don't have my white paper with me to show you the colors, but real similar in color to the 36, the whiskey beforehand. But this, okay, you thought the other one was fruitier. I almost think this one is fruitier, but I'm trying to pin down like what kind of. It's this one is smoother and lighter. There's that smooth term. It's smoother and lighter than the 36.
Are we? Did I mislabel those sample bottles?
I don't think so.
Just kidding. Yeah, it sounds like we're having the opposite experience, which it doesn't happen often. We're usually pretty much aligned, but I did think the last one was a little lighter.
Oh.
But I think that was I think what I was calling out earlier, I think it was just the spirit itself, like the texture was lighter, and that to me was just hinting at like a more like lifted spirit, if those words make any sense. This one, because it's woody and spicier, I'm just at least associating with a heavier whiskey. I do think the texture is a little thicker too, or more viscous. But what did you have for dinner tonight?
Chicken and.
Okay. I didn't think about that. I mean, what's on your palate?
I made some guacamole that is very garlic and onion heavy, and I didn't eat it. I didn't. I told Jen, my girlfriend, I was like, I got to wait till after the tasting to have this because I like to. But no, it was chicken and cauliflower was what I had beforehand. Very mild.
All right. We should from now on, we're doing these. We should just disclose, well, I woke up, I had this, and this is where my palate's at. I feel like society members would appreciate that sort of level of transparency for our tasting videos here.
And I can't tell you. I mean, look at the colors of them because they're both pretty similar. The 36 and the 95, but both gorgeous. I thought the 36 was a little darker than this one.
Mm-hmm.
But,
well, in flavor, more sherry on the previous one than this one. This is more woody.
yeah.
Bit of get a little bit of fig. The nutmeg is still there. It is spicier, of course. And I don't know. I if I had to pick one, this is total personal preference here. I don't know if it matters, but I think I appreciate this one. It just exists at a really unique space. It's not any one thing. It's kind of a greatest hits album, you know, of Speyside. Could have convinced me. I know regions don't matter that much anymore, but could have convinced me this is sort of a more rustic Highland whiskey of some sort.
I mean, yeah, both very nice, and like you say, both very nice balance. Not sherry bombs, but just great.
Yeah,
double maturations with that ex-bourbon influence, and then moving into the 36 being Pedro Jimenez, this one being Oloroso.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I think both are pretty sophisticated whiskeys. You know, like pretty. I would say, like, I mean, I think everybody watching here might consider themselves an enthusiast. If you're watching two dudes from the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society taste whiskey on YouTube, you're probably an enthusiast. You know. I think these two were definitely enthusiast drams. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You kind of have to go far along, explore a lot of things, and I think you'll really start to appreciate these two specifically.
Do you think the flavor? So the flavor profiles, I think, were accurate. Like the 36 we had was deep, rich, and dried fruits. I think that was accurate. This one's spicy and sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. At first, I was saying maybe this is like on the cusp of deep, rich, and dried fruits, but as I'm tasting it, adding water, going through the whole thing, I'm like, no, it's really not. Mm-hmm. We've seen Oloroso sherry casks, you know, whiskeys matured in Oloroso in full term, like a refill that'll be like a spicy and dry. You know, this is a bit more lush. So anyway, I think it's appropriately named. Prepare for winter. It's a great name. I think that's the time to enjoy this whiskey. Of course, climate and region dependent, but I think it's put in the spot.
What we haven't done is the tasty notes on the bottle. You want to read the tasty notes on the bottle to that one?
Sure.
Since I just remembered that.
Okay. Oh, snap. Great. The fragrant nose from winter spices was followed by a gingerbread caramel mousse. Diluted ginger with Serrano rep plums. Okay, who reps their plums in Serrano? I don't know, but that sounds delicious. Yeah, so it looks like whoever wrote this tasting note also picked up on the ginger. Mm-hmm. That was what I was detecting a lot of in the gingerbread specifically, because it does have that sort of like baked dessert, cookie crumble type of thing going on. Anyway,
I immediately thought of the gingerbread man in Shrek. You know, where I forget what he's. I used to know that movie by line, but was it? You can't stop me. I'm the gingerbread man.
I know. Can you just do all your tasting notes like in that voice?
I don't want to set people's expectations too high.
All right, listen, I just want to say this. I'm really excited for this next whiskey. I have no idea what to expect. No. I've never seen anything like this on paper in my what year is it? Almost 6 years here in this team. A couple before that being a member. So I have no idea what to expect. I'm pumped. So this is Cask 18.54, a thinking dram. Mm-hmm. We like to think a lot here. What really is just so I'm excited about. First of all, there's a lot going on here. This is originated from distillery in Speyside, close to the northern tip of Speyside. 15 years, double matured in both ex-bourbon hogshead, as you can see scrolling behind here, and then first fill Oloroso sherry hogshead. What's I think really interesting is that this has somehow found its way into the oily and coastal flavor profile. I don't know that maybe only a couple ever, seen a sherry matured whiskey from Speyside in the oily and coastal flavor profile. So just to clarify, all of our whiskeys are taste tested by our tasting panel. They're given a name, a title, but they're assigned in one of 12 different flavor profiles based on what the tasting experience is. So it has nothing to do with where the whiskey came from, what type of cask was used. It's only based on the flavor. So this is, I have no idea what to expect. And I'm just, in all my ears, I'm pumped.
Yep. Oh, my gumdrop button.
I'm like,
yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I know I haven't just a little over 2 years now with this society seen an oily and coastal Speyside Oloroso maturation that's in the oily and coastal. So, and I haven't tasted this one yet either. And I think the name on this one, a thinking dram, I think we're going to have to do that. I think it's going to make us think. I think it's going to make us slow down, stop. Let's see. Oh, okay. That nose. I mean, there's a little bit of alcohol punch to it. A little bit more citrusy. And color, not, I haven't shown, I don't know if it would show up too good here without my white paper. It's not too far off from the previous 2 drams. It's a little bit darker. Definitely not just ex-bourbon.
wow. This is certainly something you don't see every day.
Yeah, this is where some of the thinking is going to come in, because it is what is going on with this nose.
It just, first impression, it smells like an old Jura or something, which is like couldn't have been produced further away, but not like the the Jura with the 7 different woods or whatever, but like a single cask distilled there, a whiskey distilled there. This is wow.
I had an image of being in an old church, an old countryside church with the old pews, and maybe it's in the summertime where it's humid and it's hot.
Oh man,
kind of dusty, nice warm oak.
This is like
chalky.
Yeah, I love this.
Oil, but I'm thinking oily and coastal. Maybe a little. I don't know if I'm getting too much oily on the nose. Maybe a little bit of the coastal. Maybe some of the sea air.
Oh, this is so beautiful. There's a bit of like a lemon seed oil thing going on.
Yeah,
I think I just smelling this. Oh, come on. I'm hoping the palate follows the aroma. This is so beautiful. Don't let me down, buddy. Like, come on. But just nosing this, I wouldn't put this in any other profile. It's wild. It's really, really wild. It's so beautiful, so elegant. It's a bit floral too, but lemon seed oil for sure. Olive oil. I mean, you said you're getting more coastal than oil. I'm getting a lot of oils.
Are you getting oily?
Olive oil for sure. Olive oil, lemon seed oil, a little bit of sage. I mentioned something about sage in an earlier one. I think I'm definitely getting it here.
I like the lemon seed oil, maybe grape seed oil.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything I'm picturing now is me sitting in an old rural church with the pew.
Yeah, you can't get that at church. I'm thinking of like one of those olive oil stores where you go in like those metal vats and you just taste them all. Oh, this is really funny. Not funny. This is really fun. Just to nose this one. Oh. Come on, baby. Be good. Be good. Be good. How many bottles are available of this one? Ooh, 175. Okay. How many? You gotta find that out.
All right. Go ahead and cheers.
Okay. It's the best whiskey I've had in a month. Oh. That's so like amazingly bizarre. But not like not bizarre like some Campbellton whiskeys can be, meaning like they can be a little funky and off-putting to people. Ooh, I think it's like a cocktail almost. This reminds me of like a little. There's like a little bit of agave note. It is interesting.
You're like a smoked chocolate.
Yeah,
It's not good, but it's almost just like a little bit of a char or a smoked nuttiness or a roasted. I got literally a smoked milk chocolate.
Yeah, this is like it's very. This is a real I described the last two whiskeys as being like sophisticated. This is by far much more sophisticated. Like if this were a I'm no like perfume or fragrance expert, but I was talking to somebody recently about like the art of making perfume. That they're a perfumer. I was like, it's pretty cool. Similar like making whiskey, and this is like these are like really sophisticated like notes. I think that are in it. If one were to make it, but this is more of an outcome of nature. Definitely coastal. What do you think?
It is thicker. The oiliness comes through on the palate.
Yeah.
It is salty.
Yeah.
Boy, this one is unique. Good, delicious, unique. It is so nice on the palate. And it's trying that kind of that smoked milk chocolate. I'm just trying to think what else is in here.
Aroma is nice for me. It's like 2 seconds after you put it on the palate, boom, it explodes. Really buttery. You talk about the croissant. You experienced on this one, croissant.
Yeah.
It really comes alive. It's like, I think this is amazing. I really think this is great, and I think this is amazing as somebody who has tasted a lot of different things and appreciates something that's unique. But this is like so pleasing. You don't have to like step outside of your comfort zone to like this, or really kind of you can be. It's okay if you're one who enjoys whiskeys like again that are more classical and familiar. This is not too bizarre, but like this combination of different flavors is totally wild. What do you think of the sherry cask? Are you picking up a lot of Oloroso sherry?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to talk about because so I got into our product page here. So this one was 12 years ex bourbon, and then so 3 years first fill Spanish oak Oloroso, and that's what I was just thinking. It's like this one was Oloroso. Where is it? I think it's in there, but it's really I don't want to say muted, but it's not up front. It's mid palate, maybe even finish, slight notes, but I'm still looking for them as well. This one is just so deliciously unique. The oiliness of it is definitely oily and coastal, and that's what I've been trying to suss out. It's like what else is in there with it. But then the oldest too, like we went from 12 to 14 and now a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, this is definitely the most. This would make my list of one of the best whiskeys I've had this year.
Yours is what really? Okay. I mean,
it'd make the list.
Can we revisit that conversation at the end of the stream? Because I had that with Tom, and I'd like to maybe just think about that for everybody if you're interested. But I think you guys know, like we're just trying to be honest with our experience here. I don't know, man. I'm like, we had that moment during that festival stream and we had that luscious velvet and we're like freaking out. That was one of the best whiskey experiences I've had this year for sure. Probably the best. This is I don't know. This is really, I'm really digging this. I think this is a buy, a definite buy for me. I'm going to buy it myself. Like, we certainly don't need more whiskey here, but it's great. It's great. I've never had anything like this before. And I'm just happy it delivered because on paper I was like, this is interesting. Let's see what it tastes like. I'm big on it right now.
Yeah. Herbal. I mean, there's some nice herbal notes in there. But what kind? I mean, I can tell you it's just there's herbalness, salty, oily, like a little bit of that lemon pledge, furniture polish, grapeseed oil.
It's like such a beautiful whiskey. Like
It is. And I wonder though too, if it's open for a while, And sometimes what happens is then maybe those Oloroso notes kind of start to reveal themselves. So with Oloroso, you should be looking, for that nuttiness, plums, dates, figs, drier, not as sweet. I think some of the spiciness is here, the cinnamons and the nutmegs. I'm not necessarily getting any of the plums or dates yet, but I think they will show themselves. This is such an intriguing, delicious pour.
You know what it is? Not what it is, but for like, I can think of a tasting experience that's most similar to this. This is what Manzanilla sherry tastes like.
Oh,
there Manzanilla sherry is a type of sherry similar to like Amontillado, light. It's a white sherry. I mean, but there's a bit of like salinity to it. It's coastal, which is the differentiator between Manzanilla and Amontillado. I'm not an expert on like the production of the wine, but I love that. It's a bit nutty. Which you also get in Oloroso sherry, which again, this spent time in Oloroso sherry cask. You're picking up on that. But if I tasted this blind, I would never guess this was Oloroso sherry at all. At first I was thinking like this is a white wine cask for sure. And now it just makes sense. Again, it is Oloroso sherry. It's bourbon to Oloroso. So that's what it is. But it's like, it's so not Oloroso and so much more similar to Manzanilla. Like if someone said, if I was told someone in the warehouse actually mixed up 2 casks and the label was wrong, I would have believed that, because there's just nothing dark and hearty about the whiskey like you get from Oloroso, right?
Right.
It's fun. It's a little bit funky, but nutty and really, really, this is my style for sure.
Yeah, I have a Bunnahabhain at home.
Yeah.
Manzanilla cask that is, it's a gorgeous whiskey.
I haven't tried that, but I would just say like for everybody for like big, better known distillery, brands of whiskey, I would say like a Bunnahabhain is similar to this, like the similar, like just a classic Bunnahabhain, which we've been oily coastal. You could have convinced me this was Bunnahabhain for sure. Maybe not as much saltiness or saline. Glen Scotia, not exactly, but we're naming whiskeys that if we bottled them, we'd be an oily coastal. But this is just so wild. Old Pulteney, maybe I could be convinced this was like an Old Pulteney. Maybe if we were doing this blind, I would have guessed something like that because it's a bit Old Pulteney has like a more of a buttered sort of like undertone to it, to a lot of the spirits that we in Birmingham would at least.
Yeah,
I don't know. We're just going off here. I'm really digging it.
No, I would almost bought unpeated Bunnahabhain spirit.
Yeah.
Because it is salty, that maritime, oily, coastal is all over the palate. Yeah, even maybe either a Manzanilla or a Madeira, either one almost. It's more nutty and not those dark fruits. At least it's not showing itself yet, and it could over time. But yeah, I love this one. This is great.
I've been I was curious if that off profile is due to aging in the vaults. Well, first of all, we don't really know when this cask was acquired. Obviously, it spent some time at the vaults, which is in the Port of Leith. And I'm no distiller. I'm just a whiskey enthusiast, tasting for a living for a long time. But the more distillers I meet over the years, the more I'm just told that the location of aging, geographic location of aging, has very little to do with the profile itself. I think the water source and of course the source of the grain and the location of the farm of which it's harvested, that has a much larger impact than simply just this, I think, fairy tale of air coming from the sea into that. I mean, if you look at the map, I was thinking that for a second. I was like, look at the distillery. I looked it up, and it is pretty north in Speyside, close to the sea. So, but I don't know that necessarily. Again, I'm not an expert here, but from what I'm told, I don't know that means like air has crumped into the cask. I think perhaps the other raw materials, including water and the grain, definitely the water could have originated from a more of a coastal environment. I don't know. If you haven't learned anything today, you learned that I think that's the case. So
let's see the tasting notes on the bottle. Or here, let's hear the tasting notes.
I don't like doing this. Driving a Trabant on the island of Madeira before visiting a fruit, vegetable, flower, and fish market in Funchal. What is Funchal? Funchal. Where is that? That was they dropped a lot of locations in that.
Well, a funeral would be in an old church, though. So, I mean, I nailed that one.
Funchal is the capital of Madeira. Okay.
Oh.
Clearly, these dudes had a fun time. They took a trip to Madeira, bought a bunch of wine barrels, brought them back to the Leith, and then so let's just write about it in our tasting notes and let those Americans just try to figure it out during a live stream. And then we'll all laugh at them.
You said Manzanilla, and then I threw in Madeira as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're getting there. We're getting there. You'd almost think we were paid to do this?
Sometimes I wonder what we actually paid for. I don't know. I feel like, yeah. I would pay to do it. I would pay to taste this. In fact, once this releases tomorrow, we give all the other members a fair chance to order anyone. I'm definitely going to pay to drink it.
Yeah.
All right.
Really, to me, that one and even the first one we started with, the 71, are both really eye openers.
Yeah, you were in that first one.
Yeah.
Pretty unassuming on paper. That's what you would call a hidden gem. Like on paper, you're like, 12-year-old space side, juicy oak and vanilla.
Yep.
It just goes to show it's great to be able to taste these things and actually have an opinion.
All right. Last but not least, let's see here. Oops, let's turn that on. Scroll that one. Show it. There we go. 16.88. I lost my screen. There we go. Dressed to Grill. This is in our peated profile, a 9-year-old Highland. Recharred Hogshead is our cask type on this one. 62.8%, our highest of the night. Will be available for $115.
Yeah, man. I just love these so much. We don't talk too much about the distilleries. Actually, we don't talk about them at all. We've been sort of doing that indirectly tonight, but Distillery 16 is one not too far from Glasgow. I had a chance to visit it last year. Highly recommend. Give it a visit. A lot of the spirit they make is unpeated. This is the peated variants. I think we've seen a few casks similar in age, similar cask type over the last 3 years. Maybe we've been fortunate. I have a feeling that that's going to come to an end. That we're not going to continue to see this many. We tend to acquire a batch of a collection of different casks and release them because we get excited. We don't like to hold on to them, and then I just think these are some of the best values in the best the experience to the dollar to experience ratio. There's such a thing. Look at the $115. I remember when 3 digits was a really not high number to pay for whiskey. Here we are, but man, I think these are just some of the best values, and I just knows this one, and it brings me back.
A little bit darker on this one, even for just X bourbon or recharred hogshead. So you're going to pick up a little bit more color here from that recharring process. I don't get a lot of peat on the nose, though. Are you? There's a crisp.
Yeah, man. It's that burning forest floor. It's a charred wood and a bit of almost like a hickory smoke. Is that? Yeah.
This is
yeah.
Well, I was going to say, you were talking about the distillery. It's really kind of a sleeper distillery, and I don't think, except for the last year and a half, and I think it was the gathering of 22, we had a heavily peated, from Distillery 16, I want to say, if memory is serving right. And we've had a couple, and they've all just been phenomenal casks, and really, outside the SMWS, I don't know where I ever would have had the chance to try a peated or a heavily peated, Distillery 16.
I just think it's a beautiful. So you said again the peat. I'm getting a ton of peat. I'm taking a ton of smoke. from burning the peat, but I'm not getting like the aromas that you would associate with a peated whiskey, which are often maritime notes, from the sea or something. There's almost something like, and this is, sorry to my fellow, to any Brits watching this, but there's like a very American aroma. It's not like a barbecue, but I mentioned like a hickory smoke. It just seems like something you'd light a fire in the middle of a forest and eat some breakfast sausage or some bacon. I mean, man, to eat some bacon while drinking this, that would be, you know what I mean? Like that would be amazing.
Well, I'm getting peat, not a lot, and that could just be maybe my nose is getting a little burned out on the fifth whiskey here, but it's definitely like that recharred hogshead, honeyed, smoky, a little bit of some light brown sugars. Yeah, be interesting.
Oh, a bit chalky. Oh,
all right.
It's a bit of like smoked fish. I made all that comment about it. It's a forest floor, bacon. There's actually some smoked fish going on there. A bit heathery.
This whiskey chose violence.
What's that?
This whiskey chose violence. It chose to wake up and knock my palate all around.
Yeah. I love this, man.
This so good. That is okay. That it's rich. I mean, if you we've talked about smooth. Rich to me is one of those others. It's a rich palate. It's darker, not like sherry dark, but just darker. Recharred hogshead dark, brown sugar, caramels, burnt caramels, toasting, peat, smoke. Yeah.
Man, wow. Like there's I don't know where I'm gonna go with this. I don't be careful with what I say. But there's just like so many whiskeys that like people make such a big deal about on social media, the marketing and whatnot. This is like so much better than it's just really delicious. It's really delicious. Like I think for $115, like
oh yeah,
9 years old, 62.8%. Now listen, with all fairness, we've had a few whiskeys, so our palates are acclimated to the alcohol right now. I really like this neat. And I don't say that about most whiskeys, first or fifth of the night. Like at this strength, I really like to add some water. This is like really dangerously approachable. And it's for 9 years old, it's just the recharred hogshead injects a lot of depth. Maybe it's more of a cheap trick, not a trick at all, but it's an intentional outcome, and I think it works. Gives it a lot of complexity, a lot of character, a lot of warmth. But I just think this would be a great camping whiskey. Like if you were to go camping like this, I'd pick this one.
If you had if you were out hiking in the snow, in the mountains, in the cold, and you had a flask in your inner pocket,
oh man,
you had to pull that out once in a while and take a little swig from. Boom, right here.
Yeah.
Ryam Legend, love the name, by the way. I don't know if I've seen Ryam Legend tune in before. He's had a couple comments tonight, but he says, highly recommend a few drops of water with this one. We're going to get there. I haven't added water yet, but we'll see. And he also says there's a pleasant bitterness with this one that reminds me of ballpark boiled peanuts. I can see that. Right. This is, wow. So this recharred, okay, think ex-bourbon cask, peated whiskey, lighter in color, citrusy, vanillas, and peat, and vanilla. This one, darker, charred, toasted nuts, toasted honeys, toasted oak, toasted cask. Let me get some water on mine.
Okay, add some water and taste it. And tell me what is the most prominent flavor that you get after you've added water. Again, we have different palates and everything, and you had like some chicken or whatever, but you got a Christmas tree behind you, so I got environment's different. You're by the sea. I'm not, like, literally. You got the salty air flying through your air conditioning that you said is not working. So maybe it's not.
Don't knock Nashville. Nashville's a very good area.
I live here by choice. I actually don't live in Nashville anymore. I live outside of it. I'm a real suburban dude.
All right. It was delicious neat. It's delicious with water. I almost get a chocolate waffle cone.
Okay. I went to the one flavor that's like the most prominent. Chocolate waffle cone, would you say?
Yeah, I'd say that was different. That just jumped out at me.
For me, it was hazelnut. I wasn't like expecting you to say that, but like I didn't get any of it in first, and it became really like, well, I got white chocolate and hazelnut for sure. Like a little bit of like maybe it's just the association, but like a little bit of like brewed coffee note with it too.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I do too. I like that too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Feeling so good about myself. Anyway, I just these two whiskey, with all respect to everything on the table, these last two are like a no-brainer for me. This is from my own personal taste, like, and I also like value. And
I'm not a fan of them, but I've had them the chocolate covered espresso beans.
Oh yeah,
a little bit here. I mean, I like it. This is good. In whiskey, it's different. Generally, I'm not a fan of chocolate covered espresso beans, but there's a little bit of that here. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Moseri says, I missed a few bottles from this distillery, which I regret. I like smoky young scotch. I went to this distillery, like I said, last year, and I was talking to the guy who runs the bar. It's the only distillery in the world to have a Michelin star restaurant in it. And I had a chance to eat at the restaurants with Roy Aquavite. He took me up there and talked to the bar guy who runs the whole bar, and they have a bar with a lot of different whiskeys. And I told him, what I do, where I was coming from. He was pumped, and then they pulled out a few SMWS Distillery 16, casks, and they were like, "Oh, we're so excited for these! Like, you guys get you get all the good casks." I was like, "Oh, do we? Okay, that's good." They're like, "Yeah, we're really proud of this partnership." I'm like, "Hell yeah!"
Is your palate good enough? Some people can tell the difference between Isla and Highland peat. Now, sometimes I can, but with Distillery 16, with like that heavily peated one, and maybe even this one, I don't know that I'd be able to say that's Highland and not Isla. Do you think your palate is blind? How good are you at distinguishing Isla and a good highly peated Highland peat?
Well, I'll say this with full humility. I think a lot of people watching once saw you and I go head to head in a blind tasting competition in which I clearly have the better ability because I beat you by 1/2 of 1 point. No, listen, I'd like to think I am. And I love like hosting blind tastings and like throwing it up and throwing some of these in there to people. I see people guess Isla. No, blind tasting is hard. It's Isla whiskey is something I really, really enjoy. So I think if there's any advantage I hold, it's just from experience tasting the whiskeys. So I knew what this was going into it because I saw the bottle here. So when I tasted it, I was like, oh, this is the burning forest floor. This is not like peat cut from the sort of the perimeter of Scotland or an island or anything like that. But on the palate, I got a lot of like smoked fish and stuff. So I'm like, I would have been properly confused, I think in my head I would have done the process elimination, like which distillery, because there are not that many on Isla, and I would have concluded it's probably none of them. But I stand by what I said earlier. It's like I said American smoke, but the hickory, there's a lot more going to it. It's
yeah. I mean, sometimes you can tell. But there's also, I've had some Highland peats that I don't know that I would be able to say this is definitely Highland and not Isla. They can, there's some heavily peated, at least to my palate, that I can't distinguish yet. Maybe I need more time on them.
Or a rematch.
Why would I when there's all those good, sherry cask whiskeys out there? But
well, somebody's got to saturate their palate. So no, like I think we've been very open with we've called ourselves out and saying that tonight with these 5 whiskeys, so many of them were like, if you had told me it was this, I would have believed it. If you told me that was a rum cask, I would have believed it. If you told me that was a white wine cask, I would have believed it. I think a lot of these whiskeys totally throw you for a loop. This is one of them. To me, the difference was pretty apparent. But with a little bit of water and a little bit of time, now I'm smelling it, thinking about it. Like again, trying to be humble. I could be convinced this was something that with single cask whiskey, you never know. This is a pure single cask. They're all so different. You never. So anyway.
We had a rematch on the schedule. And
we need a host.
Well, yeah, Jenna was the host, and then she left. So that the rematch
we need a host.
Postponed.
Okay, let's throw this out there. And to everybody in chat. Scott and I, just for context, we once had a blind tasting challenge competition on YouTube here. It was fun. You've done a couple on that channel, but we did one. It was so close. I mean, I think we were like decent. I think we were both like decent that night. It was so close. I edged Scott by 1/2 of 1 point, which was like pretty much as close to even as you get. But I like to pretend that I completely crushed him.
He brings it up a lot. But
So what we're in need of is for somebody to send us some samples, knowing where we don't have any idea, and we open them on YouTube here for the first time and just completely expose ourselves. That's how we like to do it. So we need somebody to facilitate that. We could get somebody. I
mean that's what we had. Jenna had sent us 5 or 6 samples. Of she had hundreds of bottles. SMWS bottles that she poured from. We knew nothing. Going into it, so it was good. It was a good time.
Yeah. So we need a new host. We can get someone from our team. We can get Tom to do it, I'm sure. But we could also, I'd open it up to anybody in chat if you want to facilitate the tasting. But I think, anyway, we can talk about that, cross that bridge. I would be down to do a rematch this calendar year. All right. That's what we got.
Let's see the tasting notes on that bottle.
Oh,
16.
This one is called Dress to Grill. It says, tasting note, it's grill time. It says it's grill time. Either honey and soy chicken barbecued in a farmyard or prawns and fish sizzling on a beach. Take your pick. What? Like a choose your own adventure book? So it's either, I've never seen a tasting note like this. It's either honey and soy chicken barbecued in a farmyard, or it's prawns, it was just shrimp in America, prawns and fish sizzling on a beach. Take your pick.
Honey and soy chicken. I called out the honey.
I call that the fish, but not on the beach.
I can see the soy. Yeah. Nice. Uh-huh.
I mean, imagine having a whiskey that's so confusing that you have 2 separate tasting notes.
Yeah.
And then you just tell the member to take their pick. All right. Look at Momuka is like blowing up the chat, like somebody who discovers you on Instagram and just like likes all your posts. Go back and you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
bring he's the host. Yeah. Bart could also facilitate. I don't trust you two. I think you two would be on the same team.
No, huh? What do we? No, I had him in I did the blind tasting with 8 YouTube channels, and I didn't tell him. I wanted him to fail miserably.
Or Bob says, we need assurances that y'all won't review our order history, which we could do. But I think it would be really fun. There's really no fun in cheating in a blind whiskey tasting.
Yeah,
YouTube, but between us, that's not fun. I think tasting blind is like so challenging as it is. I think it's fun to kind of like test yourself more than anything and see like, do I get 30% of them?
Yeah, I know. No, it is.
I think if there was like something at stake and we were younger men, maybe this would be like we'd be too competitive. But we're not doing that. So that's your assurance.
You are a younger man.
I know, but I said that like I don't listen. I don't get your references of like radio show, TV shows, but anyway. But no, you know what I mean.
I said that I was like, you might not know who Lonnie Anderson is. Do you know who Lonnie Anderson is?
No, I don't. I'm a millennial.
Oh,
but one of the good ones. One of the good ones. Not one of the victims.
There was Lonnie Anderson, and then there was Farrah Fawcett.
I know Farrah Fawcett. Yeah. I know of. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Good talk, guys. Well, we'll save the Springer for another time. So.
Oh, you want to touch on that one?
If you want to, it's your call. It's December Outturns. A lot. We got to show the whole Cask list, by the way. Why don't you put up the list? We'll put up the list of everything releasing tomorrow at 1:00 Eastern.
Yeah, and
let's just do a quick little toast with the special one. Not Jose Mourinho, but yeah.
What? Here we go. Let me open that and share my screen.
While Scott's doing that, I'm just curious from Chad. We've tasted 5 whiskeys. I know some of you have been here from the beginning. Which of the 5 sounds the most appealing to you? I'm just curious, based on our sharing of tasting notes and tasting experience, which of the whiskeys would you be most interested to check out yourself? You can also factor in these on paper that we haven't tasted. I want to look at this.
Yeah, 15 whiskeys coming out tomorrow. That's a huge outturn. December is a good time of year. So let me grab my sample of the Vaults Collection 27.114. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So when I put this tasting together, there were a few others that I really wanted to taste. The 19.68 Spoil Yourself Rotten. Man, we've had a few of these similar in age, a few different casks that we've released over the last 2 years that have been phenomenal. For selfish reasons, I didn't want to include that one just because I've tasted a few. I was looking for a bit of variety. That's amazing. 26-218 One Cool Cat. That's kind of a fail proof. I love those. The younger ones too. Those are an easy pickup. Obviously, 1854 I think was a no-brainer for me. What is this one? I'm going to the bottom. New Balls, Please. Oh yeah, the New Balls, Please. Whatever that means. I wanted to get that. I
mean, it could be tennis balls. It could be pool, billiards. I don't know what they smell like.
4.294 an aura of respectability. That describes you. An aura of respectability.
Oh yeah, first fill Pedro Jimenez, shaved, toasted, recharged.
I just want the name. But look at that PX Barrique, STR. Yeah. Oh, there is a rum barrel one, the 72-115. Okay, these are definitely not in numerical order, but share some sunshine. Anyway, I want to see if there's any responses. Okay, I asked which one sounds the most appealing. Steve says the 18. Mosry says the 4th and 5th for me. Mamuka really chose boldly here and said 1 through 5. Joe Combs says 18.54. Woohoo, a 4. I'm fresh out and loved every 4 that I've had. Okay, yeah, so this one sounds pretty good. That's coming up here. An aura of respectability. An older one too, 18 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's we've seen a lot of younger ones come out, so that's pretty. But we've seen younger ones and then like older ones, like over 20 years.
If you go back late last year, we had a couple of distillery 4s that were. One was Oloroso matured, one was Pedro Jimenez.
We did that together. We tasted those together.
Both were. I think they were 19 years old. They were phenomenal. Yeah. That one's got to be. That one's got to be, and that's got to be a sister cask of those.
Yeah. Oh right. Well, but those were 19 years.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
we can look this up. But the point is, it's been a year. It's been a year since we've seen a cask of that age.
And by the way, Ben and I referenced a 20-year-old earlier that's coming. That's not the one on this list. There's another one. It's kind of a unicorn. There's a lot of December whiskeys coming up for the holiday season, so stay tuned.
But at a price, yeah, but that one's at a price point that like is a multiple of this 4.29 for.
But not too bad. All right, everybody got their. I'm gonna stop sharing here. We're back. All right, and we poured. So this is. I don't have a. Let's see. Do we have the banner? October. There we go. St. Andrews. We're gonna touch on this one. Ben and Tom got to review this one the other night. One of our newest vaults collection. This is kind of a unicorn in itself. Thank you for sending me a sample or making sure I got a sample of this one. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah. I intend to share the rest of this. I mean, it would be criminal not to, but
if I remember right as well, this is 30 years old.
It's 30 years old. We if you all want to check the channel, Tom and I did a whole stream about this the other day. Distilled 93. This was matured for 25 years, then ex-bourbon hogshead, and then transferred for 5 more years to a first fill XPX sherry hogshead. Tasting. Well, go ahead, Scott. I want to hear your impressions. Tom and I talked about it on the stream. I think a lot of you were there. Maybe get your impression of this whiskey.
So I did. I sampled this one earlier, but it took a little bit at 30 years old, and 25.5. But that PX starts to show itself on the finish. I was getting just nice toast, or the caramels and the toffees and everything were coming through. But this is a gorgeous whiskey, and it's it's hard to pass up. I would have to say. I've been contemplating ordering my own.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've poured 2 different whiskeys. I did not blend them. If you saw me pouring one, I poured the 18.54 because I have an interesting thing I want to something I want to do here.
Oh my Lord! The 27 is just phenomenal. Oh, you can tell this is an older whiskey. There's old leather. There's tobaccos. That Pedro Jimenez starts to kick in. You get the toffees, the caramels, the dark chocolates. But I think some of that Campbelltown funk has kind of waned down in a little bit over that 30 years. Maybe slightly there with a little bit of a salinity, in the background, but aged in a dank basement, humid.
Oh fuck. Okay. Yeah. A lot of people talk about the oxidation or aeration, and the neck pour effect. My experience, these whiskeys. So I've poured this off. I've shared this. I've got half the bottle. I just opened this the other day. I've shared it with fellow team members, and this just first pour, so much more alive and complex than it was when we just opened it. I opened the day of that stream the other day. So much more going on in the glass. This is really, really a bit of an orchestra of aroma, just flavors, the palate. And I poured the other one because I want to compare that 18.54. I was like, you know what, man, it's kind of like almost as impressive in the glass as this one. It definitely is a different league. This is a $2,400 whiskey. This is not an everyday thing. This is not for everyone. It's certainly like we are tasting this. We're fortunate to taste this. So I throw that out there because I personally care about value when I buy whiskey. It's really special to taste this, but I just, I don't know what else to say. If you're looking to do something, get something special, of course, we're not going to deter you from it. I just like to keep it real, as a whiskey buyer myself. It's pretty rare. I don't think we'll see one of these for a long time because we're definitely not getting new casks from this distillery. They are not selling them. We only have acquired them in the past and are letting them age. So
chocolate cigar shavings. It's like a rich chocolate tobacco. That is, it's just that's amazing, and it hits you right up front. This one, I mean, soon as you sip it, it's phenomenal. That is, amen.
Jason Coates, good to see you, Jason. I haven't seen Jason in a while. Maybe I just haven't been here in a while. But so my experience with 27s is still in the first couple of years post mothball is that they don't have that funk. I think this is, I mean, whether it's the funk or not, I think for me, I still think I would identify this blind as being a spirit of this distillery.
You think?
Yes.
I mean, I might lean unpeated Isla. It's definitely, kind of that savory, meaty, salty underlying, but something like Jason Coates is saying, some of that normal Campbelltown funk to me isn't necessarily there. It is so rich. It's obviously an older whiskey, when you sip it.
I mean, this is a bit of an enigma. This was a 25-year-old bourbon cask mature that was transferred to a first fill, a real bodega cask, and taking on a journey of its own. I think you could probably convince me this. Like, if you told me, check out this Bowmore I have that's 30 years old, I probably would have said, that's an interesting Bowmore, but like I would have believed it at the same time. I just think there's an industrial character, like an industrial undertone, that for me is undeniable, and I think pretty indicative of the Campbelltown, of particularly this distillery. But it is the cask that sherry cask is pretty active, and my observation, like on the first time around in the stream, was that it's definitely a sherry cask, but I still think it's retained the distillery character and the bourbon cask beneath it. And if it were left to mature any longer, though, I think it would start to lose it. So I think they pulled it at the right time. Or Ewan did, I should say.
Black cherries.
Yeah. I like how I always get philosophical, and you just go, black cherries, croissant, buttered bread, rum barrel.
This is a gorgeous whiskey. It really is. Yeah. But yeah. Oh. It's one. I mean, it's one of those, you can tell it's older because after you swallow, it's still, the tannins are still in your mouth. They're in your gums, and you can lick your gums like I just did there, and you're pulling out all those flavors still. The oak tannins just soak in the grab. But yeah, beautiful here, like you say, with that 25 years ex bourbon, 5 years in the XPX, and it's, like I say, I would have. I don't know if I would peg it as 27 or even a Campbelltown. I think I would lean more, unpeated Isla, but it's definitely savory, meaty, nutty. You get that toffee and the caramels from the PX. It soaks into your teeth and your gums. It hits you from the front. I mean, the instant it hits your palate, all the way through. Yeah. Just phenomenal.
All right, let me ask you a question, then we can wrap this up, because we've turned this into we're in after hours, everybody. What are your two favorite society whiskeys of the year that you've tasted?
Oh, put me on the spot.
Yeah. You can say this for another stream.
Well Red would be one of them. I think it was 100.40. That was aged in an ex Shiraz barrique.
I haven't tried that one. Yeah.
That one.
Really?
Yeah.
That was. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then this. I mean, coming into tonight, I don't remember after having this one. Yeah.
This is on it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, just think right off of the top of my head without going back through everything from this year and what I've had. Well Red stands out, 100.40, I want to say. And this one is just phenomenal.
Let me open that question up to the chat too. What's the favorite society whiskey you've had this year? And granted, I don't expect that you've tasted as many as we do because we do this for a living. But even if you've had 1 to 3 bottles that you've tasted or something, or whatever, you have a favorite from this year. I'm just asking because we're a membership club. We're bottle of whiskey based on what we like and what we think is interesting as a spirits team, the spirits team at least. But I think if it's not enjoyed by the members, then we want to go in a different direction. So multicasting says 2 middle fingers of bourbon. I think
2 middle fingers of scotch.
2 middle fingers of scotch, the one that Neil named, perhaps. Sherry Cask.
I used to respect multicasking until he threw out 2 middle fingers of bourbon. I'm like, I don't think that's right. Multicasking, Charlie.
Evan Belt 64 rare release, 2 middle fingers of scotch. Okay. 4.346 savory and sweet. I don't remember that one.
That might be the one we were talking. Was that the ones we were talking about? The 19-year-old that was
Pete Fire Tales and a Cunning Combo were the two.
Yeah.
I have both bottles here, so I've gone back to those in the last year. So,
multicasking corrected it. Yeah, 2 middle fingers of scotch.
Yeah, I think the distillery.
If we could just ban for like two shows, like multicasking. You can't watch, just because you called it 2 middle fingers of bourbon. Be like, yeah, you're out. 2 shows, next 2 live streams you can't watch.
Value batch 20.
Oh, batch 20. Yeah.
That was good. 76150 at the gathering. Yeah, I okay. I've noticed no one person has said the same thing.
Yeah.
Warren Buff says RW 4.1 is fantastic. Wow, rye whiskey. So I'll get to taste this year. Okay.
Yeah, Jason Coates got it. He says into the penalty box for 2 outturns for multicasking.
Okay.
And multicasking says with a heavy sigh, I shall respect thy ruling.
All right, last question after for the chat, and then I gotta go eat some dinner for real.
Yep.
Well, let's do one more live stream this year. What should it be? It can be any stream, any format, you name it. You have 30 seconds to answer. We will only accept answers in the next 30 seconds. What do you want to see? It can be as embarrassing as you'd like it to be, preferably not. Or we can open anything that you want us to open, or we can do any sort of challenge. Scott, I'm opening this up to you as well. Rye and
I'd say let's put it up to the members watching and just see. So
all whiskeys rating over 95 points. By whom?
Well, ours that we rate, really good.
Yeah. Or Mamuka just says bar. Mamuka, I think your keys are a little sticky. you keep I think you gotta just get some like Clorox wipes, bro, and just well, I don't know what you're doing with your keyboard over there. A Festivus airing of grievances.
Festivus for the rest of us.
But it sounds like bring Bart is what you need to do. Everybody wants Bart. Jason says SMWS crew each pick a couple of their favorite bottles, swap samples, taste a half dozen blind, and pick a staff winner. I mean, that would be fun. We've never done anything like that, or we just pick like an annual number one.
Top 3.
Top 3. Yeah. And then Warren says the 2 of you each send each other 3 blind samples to try to pleasantly surprise the other. There's nothing pleasant about our surprises, Warren. We just okay. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
27.114 is a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I did surprise Scott with that sample, even though he said to me, I was hoping you'd send that. I was like, well, you try to do something nice for someone. Like, I was expecting that. And I'm glad you delivered.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is, I knew you were expecting that. As I was filling it, I was like, he expects this.
Hoping and expecting are two different things. I said I was hoping you would say.
I know. You did. I was hoping.
Yeah. My fingers were crossed.
But the point is, it was on your mind.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. So it looks like we should do some sort of staff picks. I feel like we did some of that tonight. Let's hear from the rest of the SMW staff and their picks. Okay, you gotta get the rest of the staff on. All right. Well, that's good info. It's been a short stream for us tonight.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get
5 minutes.
Yeah, get going. Great outturn. Definitely pick up a bottle of 18.54, a thinking dram. Cannot recommend that one enough for what it is. It kind of like, I killed the romance a little bit by pouring this Volts collection 27114. Yeah, that I could have shouldn't have done that, but it's a different league of out of reach whiskeys for me. But 18.54 makes me really happy. So there you go.
All
right. Well,
as we say on the back of every one of our bottles, remember, Scotch malt whiskey societies are not for swigging, glugging, or knocking back. Please drink responsibly. Cheers.
Cheers.